In a place where the land meets sea, there is a home so sweet, the house of an artist, with something to show us, painting pictures with brush and pen, up on the paper in a book that's so beautiful it is a joy to read, because the stories you find in this book of wonders are some of the most amazing you will hear, for the stories were inspired over the ages by God's Holy Spirit who guided its writers long ago. John is the friar's name, and you will find with him three friends so special, having fun all together. Renata, Leopold and Tim, who want to share with you all the good stories that the Friar John would tell.
And if you like, you can join these four friends and maybe stay for a while, and together we will play.
Or perhaps you would like to join in the chorus. No need to worry if they sing a little out of tune.
If you prefer to play with the smallest, come to a cave and you can enter too.
So
Come, we are waiting in this holy place. We're really sure that you want to hear the stories of Friar John.
The talents.
Leopold, you have made lots of models.
yes, Father John.
Look at them.
And what is this one that you're making?
It's a frog and it jumps.
And it jumps?
Yes, look.
Wow, that's beautiful. So does it really jump?
Of course, look.
Let's see. Let's see. Wow.
See that? It jumps really high, don't you think? It's a really high
That's
jumper.
amazing.
Yes, I made it with paper and it's so easy to do.
Hang on, that's the door.
Someone at the door.
Who could it be that's knocked at the door? I wonder.
Can I play with your frog?
Yes, you can try.
Oh.
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
from Sister Teresa.
Sister Teresa.
Sister Teresa, what does
Listen,
she
she
say?
says,
Wow.
my
Let's
dear
see.
friends, this is just a quick note to say I'm coming to visit you on the 15th of this month.
Oh, she's coming here. That's great.
I'm really looking forward to seeing you all, and I'm sure we'll have a great time. With love, Teresa.
Oh yeah.
very
Want
good.
to see her?
The 15th, that's today.
Today?
What a coincidence. Today's the day of a patron saint, a very special day for her. The feast day of Saint Teresa of Avila.
It's the day of Saints' Day.
That's right, Leopold. Maybe we could throw a surprise party.
Yes, a party, a surprise party for her. Oh, yes.
So then, let's decide who's doing what.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Now then, what can we do?
What about a special song on my guitar?
Yes,
Wonderful.
good.
A song especially for her.
Very good.
Yes,
And I could
yes.
paint a poster for her saying, congratulations.
That's great. And what about you, Tim?
I cannot do anything. I'm so small.
You're small, it's true.
Yes.
But I can think of something you do really well.
Something I can do really well. What do you mean?
What's Timothy good at doing?
He's very good at writing poems.
Exactly.
Yes, I've heard them. They are lovely, yes.
Beautiful
You see, you
poems.
can write poems. What do you think?
Okay, all right, Sister Teresa. What do you
Yes, how good. A poem for the sister.
Very good,
Poem,
Timothy.
a song, and a poster. And it's going to be a great party with me and Tim and Renata and...
What can I do?
Huh?
I know. I'm going to bake a cake.
Oh, yes, Father John,
great
please. A
idea.
cake. Oh, yes, with cream and caramel and chocolate and almonds. Oh, yes, a cake for the sister.
Yes, I like chocolate.
Yum, yum, yum.
his cake
So
is
Okay,
delicious.
I'll leave you to get on with it.
Huh?
I may be a little
Okay.
while.
Oh,
See you later. Goodbye.
Bye.
What do I have to do? Oh, our poster.
Okay. Poem for Sister I can't write with that pencil. It's too big. It's impossible. Hey, what's the matter, Renata?
I can't do the song. I broke a string.
Oh, no, the poster, the paint's right everywhere. It's ruined. I can't do this. I'm no good at this. I'm going. Ah.
Well, we can have a party without a song, and since Sister Teresa doesn't know I was going to write her a song, she won't be disappointed.
I'm not going to write her a poem either. Anyway, maybe she doesn't even like poems. She'll be happy with the cake, don't you think?
Yes, I think a cake is plenty for a party, because what people really like best is to eat.
Yes, we'll do what everybody else does. We'll just sing Happy Saints Day to
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
and
let's
give
go.
her a cake, and that's all. See? Happy Saints Day
To you. Happy Saints Day to
Hello,
you.
everyone. So how's it all going?
Well, we started, but then I'm afraid we stopped.
You just stopped, but what happened?
Yes.
Because one of the strings is broken.
Ah.
And the pencil's too big for me.
And my poster is ruined because the paint ran all over it.
And so you're not going to do anything?
No.
You mean at the first sign of difficulty you're going to stop using your talents?
Oh, what?
Your talents, your natural gifts, the ones God gave you so that you could do good and help other people. Renata, he gave you a talent for music.
Oh.
And Leopold, he gave you the soul of a sculptor. Timothy, he made you a poet. Don't you want to use these talents to make other people happy? You'll end up like the servant in the parable of the talents.
A parable?
Yes, a parable. Do you want to hear it?
Oh, yes, a parable, a parable. I want to hear a parable.
It's the parable of the talents. But first, I'll explain what a talent is. In Jesus' time, it was also a big sum of money.
A lot of money.
Heaps of money. A huge pile of gold and silver.
Oh, a man with a
Look, a
donkey.
little donkey.
Where's he going?
Well, the parable starts like this. There was once a man who had to make a journey to a land far, far away. Before he set out, he called his servants and gave them some important instructions. The first servant came forward.
I'm here, sir.
He gave him 5 talents and said,
Take these 5 talents. I want you to manage them for me while I'm away.
Very good, sir.
He called a second servant and he gave him a large amount of money.
Yes, sir. Take these 2 talents. I want you to manage them for me while I'm away. Yes, sir, as you wish.
Finally, he called a third servant and gave him just 1 talent, with the same words as to the other 2.
What?
Take this talent. I want you to manage it for me while I'm away.
After he had given talents to each one, according to their ability, the old man set out on his journey to that faraway country. When their master had left, the first servant decided to do as he had been ordered.
Hello. I'll buy these sheep.
That man bought a field and some sheep.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.
He managed that flock so wisely that soon it had doubled in size. The servant who'd been given 2 talents went out and bought good farmland.
Buy this field. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
He planted seeds, and then he harvested the crops, and then he sold them. And in time, his 2 talents had turned into 4. The third servant didn't know what to do with the money. He thought of the problems he might have if he went into business. In the end, he decided he'd better not risk it, so he hid the money instead. A long time passed, but eventually the servant's master came home, and he wanted to settle his accounts.
Sir, you entrusted me with 5 talents, so here are 5 more that I made for you.
Oh, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with small things. I will trust you with greater. Come and join in your master's happiness. Sir, you entrusted me with 2 talents. Here are 2 more that I made for you. Ah, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with small things. I will trust you with greater. Come and join in your master's happiness.
Sir, I knew you were a hard master. Reaping where you haven't sown and gathering where you haven't scattered, so I was afraid and I hid the talent in the ground. I've got it here for you. Here it is. See that? Every last penny, just as you left it, huh?
You wicked and lazy servant. You knew that I was a demanding master, so you should have put my money in a bank where I could have recovered it with interest. Take the talent from him and give it to the man who has 10 talents. As for this good-for-nothing servant, throw him outside into the darkness.
Wait, stop, wait, stop.
You see, the man who buried the talent is like you. Because you could do something to make someone else happy, but you won't.
But I can't do anything. My guitar string is broken.
Neither can I. My pencil's too big.
My paint ran all over the
Yes,
paper.
it is.
God wants us to learn to get over our difficulties. I'm sure all these problems can be solved.
What if I say the verses and Renata writes the song?
Wonderful.
Great.
Oh, good idea.
Oh, but my guitar string is broken.
That's not important. I have a guitar string somewhere. You can have that.
Oh, wow.
It's incredible. Timothy has all kinds of things in that house of his.
Ta-ta! There's the string.
Let's see.
Can you use this one?
Oh, Timothy, it's just perfect.
Oh, goody.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Renata.
You see, Renata? That's the solution.
Yes,
it's
Father
true.
John, you're
Yeah.
right. Thank you.
But there's no solution for me. The paint ran all over the place and I can't fix it.
Oh, what a shame.
Are you going to bury your talent like in the parable?
No, no, no.
No, I don't want to bury anything. I'll try again. Father John, do you have more paper?
Of course, if it's for the Leopold that won't give up, I have all the paper in
That's
the
good.
world.
He'll give me new paper and I'll make
yes,
the
yes, a
perfect
new
poster.
poster.
You'll see, yeah.
Yes.
And what should we do with this? Throw it away?
Yes, throw it away. Paper. No, please wait, Father John. Don't throw it away, I'm going to need it.
Do you want it?
Yes, Father John, let me
What are
have
you
it,
going to do
please.
with it?
It's a surprise. Thank you.
Well, it looks as though he's found a way to use his talents.
Okay, let's write the song.
Yes, I have the paper.
Well, I see that everybody is using their talents. Now I'm going to use mine to make a cake.
Yes, goody. Oh, good, yummy.
Okay. Right, we're going to have a party. Yes? No. Let me think a moment. Oh, I know. Right. Today we have a visit.
Today
You'll never guess who is it.
we have.
Today we have a visit. You will never guess who is it.
You are putting the song together
It's a
beautifully.
sister that
Thank you,
we
Friar
hold
John.
dear.
Renata, can you help me with the cake?
Oh, yes, yes.
Put the egg yolks in here, please.
Oh, like this.
Thank you very much, Renata. Very good.
It will be wonderful.
Don't get close to the fire.
It's a sister. Oh, it's a sister that we hold dear.
Okay.
Well, children, the cake is in the oven.
Oh, good, yummy. Dear sister, we all love you. We're so glad you came to town. So that heavenly Saint Teresa has got to bless you from his throne. And when
Well,
she
I'm
has
going
got
to
for
look at how our
you,
cake is
he will
doing.
fill your life.
Yes. It smells so good.
Yes, it smells lovely. Let's see.
Oh. Yes, it smells
it smells so
lovely.
good.
Oh, it looks nice.
Now we just decorate it.
Yes.
Well, let's go clean the table to prepare the party.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, let's go.
Here, Father John, I bought the cards.
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
Oh, that's a lot of cream.
Yes, lots of cream. He's covering everywhere with cream.
I'm sure Sister will love it.
Yes.
Now pink.
How pretty.
Oh, it says Teresa. Oh, it's lovely.
Yes, it's so nice.
It's so lovely.
Oh, she's right on time. Come in, sister.
She's coming.
Welcome to our
Thank you
house.
so much, Father
My
John.
pleasure.
Hello, Renata. Hello, children. How are you? I've got a little present for you.
That's great.
Look, it's a storybook. Do you like it?
Oh, that's beautiful.
We also have some presents for you, sister.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
really? A present for me? What is it?
I can't tell you what it is because Father John says the cake is a surprise for your Saint's Day.
You made a cake? I mean, a surprise for my Saint's Day?
Yes, here it is. Happy Saints Day to you. Happy Saints Day to you. Happy Saints Day, Sister Teresa. Happy Saints Day to you.
What a marvellous cake you've made for me. It looks so delicious. And it says Teresa.
It says Teresa. But that's not all.
Oh, really?
The children have written a song especially for you.
A song especially for me.
Just for
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Do you want to hear it?
I can't wait to hear it.
Let's
Over
go.
there, please.
Over there, Tim.
I'm all ears.
Are you ready?
Let's go.
Today we have a visit. You will never guess who is it. It's a sister that we hold dear. We're so happy to have her here. She's a friend and a holy sister who has come a very long way. And because her name's Teresa, we celebrate today her Saint's Day. Dear sister, we all love you. We're so glad you came to town. So the heavenly Saint Teresa has got to bless you from his throne. And when she asks God for you, he will fill your life with light. He will help you to be good and to always do what's right. Dear sister, we all love you. We're so glad you came to town. So that heavenly Saint Teresa has got to bless you from his throne. And when she asks God for you, he will fill your life with light. He will help you to be good and to always do what's right.
Marvellous, thank you. You're both great artists. What a beautiful song. I loved it.
Thank you.
Who composed
The
it?
music is by Renata, and the words are by someone who said he didn't know how to write poetry.
It's beautiful and it made me really happy.
How good.
But where is Leopold?
Leopold?
Here I am, sister. Surprise! Congratulations, I made you a present.
Leopold?
Leopold?
How
Yes,
lovely.
it's a present for you.
Another present for me?
Yes, open it and see. Ta-da! A beautiful ball and rumpled paper for you.
Oh, many thanks, Leopold.
You're welcome.
Leopold?
Yes?
Are you giving a ball of rumpled paper to sister?
Turn it around, sister. Ta-da! What do you think? It's an origami nativity scene.
That's amazing. So pretty. Leopold, where did you get such an original idea?
Well, I think it came to me when Father John told us not to give up.
Leopold was doubting his talents.
But how can it be possible?
It was because we had problems preparing the party. But Father John said we should not give up. Then afterwards, he told us a parable.
Oh, yes. Which parable is that?
A parable that we should always think of when we're feeling downhearted.
Hear it from the music box.
Yes, good, good, good. Let's listen to the music box. Listen to it, sister. Oh, it's very nice. The sister has to listen.
It's beautiful indeed.
What is it?
Two men, look.
Yes, I can see. One has a bag of money and the other has more bags.
And he has a hole in the ground because he wants to hide it.
Yes, there.
There was a man with lots of money who wanted to journey to a faraway country. And before he left, he called his servants. Could they be trustworthy in his absence?
Take these 5 talents.
He said to the first one,
When I come back here, I'll see how you've done.
To the second he said,
2 talents for you, and on my return I'll see what you can do.
1 talent left, the third servant was there, and he received it with a lot of fear.
What if I waste it
He thought,
or lose it? How come he gave me all this money?
after he had given each man their task, to the faraway country he started at last. And the moment he left, 2 servants began to get right to work. Each one had a plan. The first bought some sheep, they soon were a flock. He took his 5 talents and doubled the lot. The other bought a field, an orchard to sow, and when the harvest came, his money did grow. But the one who received the single talent was lazy and didn't make things happen.
Doing business?
He said,
That's not for me. Better to bury it so I don't need to worry.
the master returned, called his men to him. The account of the first was most satisfying.
Faithful and responsible servant, you made a lot with the little I gave you. Here is your reward.
The second servant, just like the first, showed his master the fruit of his work. He gave to his master 4 talents, and so he was rewarded with many more. The third man made excuses.
That talent you gave me, I put it in a safe place until you came back here. I made a little hideout and hid it away in case it was lost or stolen from me.
You're very lazy,
The master said.
You should have put it away in the bank. At least the interest would have given me something. Now, go away. You don't deserve to be near me.
How many gifts has the Lord given you? To each one he gave talents, yes, it's true. He wants us to use them only for good, so the world's a better place full of love.
Yay! Yay! Wonderful! Oh, good. Oh, yay! Oh, wow.
What a beautiful parable.
Wow. Wonderful.
What a fantastic parable, and what a precious nativity
Yes,
scene.
precious.
But Leopold, you mean you didn't believe in your own talent?
I guess I'm just a dummy.
No, you're not a dummy, Leopold. Every one of us has wonderful gifts that are given to us by God, but sometimes it's not obvious straight away.
And sometimes those who have the most seem to have the least. For example, there was once a saint who was not very intelligent. He found learning difficult. He was St. John Baptiste Marie Vianney, also known as the Curé of Ars.
Oh,
The curium.
His family were peasants and good Catholics. When he was a boy, he worked in the fields watching over the sheep. He always wanted to be a priest, and he taught to his fellow shepherd boys about the catechism that his mother had taught him. When he went to school, his teacher saw that the boy would make a good priest and encouraged him in his studies. In those days, the Catholic Church was being persecuted in France. He had to make his first communion in secret. Then he was recruited into the army, but he fell seriously ill and couldn't go to war. He entered a seminary, but although he made a huge effort, he couldn't learn Latin. Only after 4 attempts did he manage to pass his exams, and finally he was ordained. He was sent to a tiny, unimportant village where his lack of education wouldn't be a problem. When he arrived, the villagers almost never went to church. They were hard-working people, but apart from their work, all they cared about was pleasure. John began a life of prayer and penitence to try and get the people of the village to change. Although public speaking was not easy for him, he prepared his sermons with great care, and people began to come from far and around to hear him every Sunday.
He had such a bad memory that sometimes he forgot his sermon halfway through, yet even so he strove to deliver it as well as he could. His words were so full of God's love and he was so kind to others that the whole village began to change. Although he didn't have the intelligence of the proud philosophers of that time, the Curé de Ars, with his modest intelligence, transformed the society he lived in. Thousands of people came to the remote village where he lived to hear him and to reform their sinful lives.
Oh,
Yes,
wow.
very beautiful.
And so, a village priest who didn't even speak Latin made the most of his modest talents and became a great saint. What do you think?
Yeah.
Well, children, I have to go now.
Oh, what a pity.
But I promise to return as soon as possible.
Okay.
All right.
It was a wonderful party.
Yeah, it's
I
wonderful.
want to thank you all for using your talents in such a wonderful way. You made me so happy.
You're
and I'm
welcome,
very
sister.
pleased with my presents.
It was a great
Many
party. I
thanks,
loved
and
it.
God bless
Oh,
you.
thank you
Thank
for
you,
coming.
sister, for your
Oh.
visit. You can come anytime.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yes, sister, come back any time.
Oh, sister, holy water.
Many thanks, Renata.
Goodbye, sister.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
There was a man with lots of money, wanted to journey to faraway country, and before he left, he called his servants. Could they be trustworthy in his absence?
Take these 5 talents.
He said to the first one,
And when I come back here, see how you've done.
to the second he said,
2 talents for you. And on my return, I'll see what you can do.
one talent left. The first servant was there, and he received it with a lot of fear.
What if I waste it? Or lose it? How come he gave me all this money?
After he had given each man their task to the faraway country, he started at last. And the moment he left, the servants began to get right to work. Each one had a plan. The first bought some sheep, they soon were a flock. He took his 5 talents and doubled the lot. The other bought a field and an orchard to sow. When the harvest came, his money did grow. But the one who received the single talent was lazy and didn't make things happen.
Doing business?
He said,
That's not for me. Better to bury it so I don't need to worry.
the master returned, called his men to him. The account of the first was most satisfying.
Faithful and responsible servant. You made a lot with the little I gave you. Here is your reward.
The second servant, just like the first, showed his master the fruit of his work. He gave to his master 4 talents, and so he was rewarded with many more. The third man made excuses.
What you gave me, I put it in a safe place. Until you were here, I made a little hideout and hid it away in case it was lost or stolen from me.
You're very lazy.
The master said,
You should have put it away in a bank. At least the interest would have given me something. Now go away. You don't deserve to be near me.
how many gifts has the Lord given you? To each one he gave talents, yes, it's true. He wants us to use them only for good, so the world's a better place full of love.
How many gifts has the Lord given you? To each one he gave talents, yes, it's true. He wants us to use them only for good, so that the world's a better place full of love. How many gifts has the Lord given you? To each one he gave talents, yes, it's true. He wants us to use them only for